Welcome to Star City. The year is 3026. From the vantage point of orbital cruisers, it seems as though humanity has finally won. We have overcome the limits of biology, merged with technology, and constructed a shining monument to our intellect floating above the clouds. From space, this world looks like a perfect system, a place with no room for error, disease, or weakness. But descend 1,000 levels through dense layers of smog and the flicker of neon advertisements, and you'll see a very different reality. At street level, in endless labyrinths of wires and rusted metal, the perfect system begins to fail. And it is here that we find the answer to a question that concerns every one of us today. What happens to society when technology permanently outpaces human evolution? We are used to thinking of artificial intelligence and automation as helpful tools. We build neural networks to write our code, create art, and optimize corporate processes. We genuinely believe we will always keep our hand on the control panel. But the history of Star City reveals a very different scenario. This is not just beautiful science fiction, it is an extreme projection of our own tomorrow, taken to its logical conclusion. And the way life is structured in the city forces us to completely rethink our ideas of career, success, and even humanity itself. Look at the architecture of this world. It perfectly reflects a social hierarchy that is already forming today. The upper levels belong to mega corporations. In the sterile halls of orbital stations, decisions are made that determine the fate of millions. This is the world of the elite, those who own the code and control the production of synthetic resources. They have access to clean water, real sunlight, and most importantly, biological authenticity. In 3026, having a living, unmodified body is the ultimate status symbol. It means you don't have to sell your organs to pay your bills. But below, in the heavy shadow of the skyscrapers, a completely different life unfolds. Look at the graffiti-covered subway cars. Look at the people riding them. This is the working class of the future. Humans, cyborgs, and androids blend together into a single gray mass, struggling to survive. For them, a biological body has long since become an unaffordable luxury. Organic lungs cannot cope with the toxic air of the slums. Ordinary human hands are too slow for automated assembly lines. To remain competitive in the labor market, residents of the lower levels are forced to constantly upgrade themselves. Augmentation here is not a fashion statement or a matter of preference. It is a harsh economic necessity. If a corporate algorithm determines that a synthetic worker with titanium joints is 12% more efficient, a biological human instantly loses their job. The resemblance to our present day is striking, where professionals are forced to chase new skills endlessly just to avoid being replaced by neural networks. The only difference is, in Star City, this race takes place at the physical level. And here, we arrive at the most astonishing phenomenon of this cybernetic society, one that shatters all our assumptions about the future. Step into the local bars reeking of machine oil and cheap neon, or wander through the dark alleys of the spare parts market, and you'll encounter those we never expected to see there. Animals. But these are not the animals we know. Cybernetic dogs with optical sensors instead of eyes patrol the streets alongside heavily armed special forces. Rats with microchips implanted in their brains gather data in ventilation shafts. Birds with feathers made of golden wires. Synthetic goats playing cards in underground casinos. How did this happen? At first, corporations began chipping fauna to perform dirty and dangerous work. Why send an expensive android into a toxic sewer when you can deploy a swarm of cyber rats equipped with cameras? Why spend resources on complex explosive detection algorithms when you can enhance a dog's olfactory center with a neuroprocessor? We use them as cheap tools, but we forgot one critically important fact. Evolution never stops. It simply changes form. The implanted processors, linked into a unified network, triggered an uncontrolled leap in intelligence. The street fauna developed a collective consciousness. They no longer merely execute commands. They have integrated into the criminal underworld. They negotiate. They survive. They form their own syndicates. In a world where everyone is connected to the network, the boundary between instinct and reason, between beast, machine, and human, has been permanently erased. This forces us to confront a deeply uncomfortable question. In this overcrowded, high-tech anthill, where exactly is the place for humans? We see an elderly mechanic in her cramped workshop, surrounded by wires and spare parts. We see exhausted people in bars, trying to dull reality with synthetic drinks. They look lost. In Star City, humanity has become a minority on its own planet. We created technology to serve us, but in the end, we became the maintenance staff of a giant, cold machine of corporate progress. We voluntarily handed control of our future to algorithms, choosing the illusion of comfort over freedom. Now, let's pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Return from the year 3026 to today. This dark, mesmerizing world of neon slums and flying police cruisers is not an unchangeable prophecy. It is a warning, a visualization of what happens when we forget our humanity in the pursuit of blind efficiency. And right now, today, we stand at a crossroads. Every student choosing their path, every professional building a career, we are all architects of the world we'll live in tomorrow. Artificial intelligence, automation, the erasure of boundaries between the physical and digital worlds, this is no longer fiction, it is our reality. Technology is advancing at a frightening pace, and it will continue to optimize routine tasks, rewrite the rules of the game. You can be afraid of this, you can hide, hoping that changes won't affect you, or you can surrender and allow the system to turn you into another cog, another augmented worker of the lower levels, whose value is measured only in productivity percentage. But there is another path, and it requires us to remember what our true strength is. No algorithm, no neural network, not even the most advanced cyborg of Star City possesses what makes us human: the capacity for empathy, the ability to think beyond established patterns, the courage to break rules in order to create something fundamentally new. Artificial intelligence can optimize the past, but only a human being can imagine the future. We do not need to become machines in order to compete with them. We need to become more human, to cultivate emotional intelligence, creativity, leadership, and the ability to unite people around shared meaning. In a world where technical skills depreciate with every new language model release, your uniquely human qualities become your most valuable asset. Your ability to adapt, to continually learn, and to preserve your inner core in an era of global uncertainty. That is what will elevate you above the system. Look at Star City once again. It is a world of those who lost their individuality, but we can write a different code. We can use technology not to build impenetrable barriers between orbital elites and slum dwellers, but to solve real problems. We can make artificial intelligence our partner, not our master. The future is not predetermined. It is being created right now, in university classrooms, in corporate offices, in garage startups, and in the minds of each of you. You are not mere observers. You are the generation of founders, the generation that will guide humanity through the largest technological transition in history. And it is up to you who you will become in this new world. Will you blindly obey algorithms, or will you write them? Will you struggle to survive on the lower levels? Or will you build a society in which technology serves to elevate the human spirit rather than suppress it? The world is changing right now. The system is rebooting. Are you ready to be the ones who define the rules of the new era?